My name is Taffy Thomas, and I am the UK's first laureate for storytelling. That means I represent storytelling, which means I always have to say yes when people ask me for a story. Wherever I am, at a petrol station, in a cafe, in the street, somebody says I want a story, I have to do it. But I did get to meet the Queen, our late Queen, Queen Elizabeth, from being a storyteller, and she gave me an award for being the Storyteller laureate. So I'm the luckiest man in the world because I tell stories I enjoy telling to people like you that I enjoy meeting. Well, this is the only storytelling festival in the world that I know of which has been completely embraced by the community, the city where it's based. People here, I had a problem yesterday. I was doing a performance for an English language group, and the teacher at the end said, Taffy, can you in one word on your first visit to Morocco tell me what you think, your feelings about it? One word for Morocco. And I put my hand on my heart and I said welcoming, because people here welcome visitors, but they also particularly welcome storytelling, because the storytelling tradition here, thanks to the old masters who for years and years kept it alive in the square, the storytelling tradition here is still just slightly below the surface in people's minds, and people are happy to embrace it and bring it to the top again. Well, for me, storytelling is important because I'm now 73 years old, but when I was 36, I suffered a massive stroke, and I almost died from a stroke. In a moment like that, I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk, I couldn't use a knife and fork. I was disabled from a stroke, and I used storytelling to learn to speak again and reinvent myself as a storyteller. But that's why it's important to me personally. But the other thing is storytelling can bring people from different communities together. I mean, for example, in England, I quite often go into a school in certain parts of England where there is a very, very high percentage of students who are from an Islamic background. And I'm happy to tell stories, to ask them for stories. And one of my favourite stories, which I will tell in the session here, which is about bringing community together, is the story of the Eid trousers, which obviously is a Muslim story, but it's also a funny one. But I have stories that when the students say to me, I tell a story called a riddle story about 17 sheep. And they said, our mullah told us that story about 17 camels. So it's the same story. So we have more in common through stories than we have different. So that's important in this day and age. Stories for peace and stories for health. Well, this is a way, yes, people can come out and point. So if they point to the hare, as somebody just did, they have a hare story. If they point to the badger, it's a badger. It's called a badger, and I have a story with a badger in it. Or there's a fox, and there's a rabbit. I know you have rabbits, le lapin. I'm afraid I have some French, but very little. The most important Arabic I have is shukran, and I need that, because people are so kind. I need to thank people.